Alright lads, so today we got some pretty exciting news regarding Bleach Soul Resonance. Because if you've been enjoying the game as much as I have and want to see the game do well today we have good news, because what you can see here is that on GachaRevenue.com, a website that does estimate but track how much revenue a game is bringing in, Bleach Soul Resonance in the month of November made over $8 million. That is absolutely insane, especially for a game that, let's be honest, didn't really have the greatest start. And by that, you know, the game kind of just got announced 2 weeks ahead of time that it was releasing in November. The global release was also a bit shaky, you know, for like 12 hours if you were following the game. The C version released and then global had nothing. We knew it was released on November 21st, but there was still a lot of unknown information about the game. And then with that too, there's a lot to talk about here, right? With that, Crunchyroll didn't do like crazy promotion for the game itself because, you know, if you've been following this game's release, which is why I'm even more happy about this number, seeing the success of the game just in 10 days, right? We'll talk about that in a sec. But remember, the game got announced back in 2023. It was doing well. There was a lot of buzz. There was the alpha test that I got to partake in. And then the whole Nuverse situation happened where the game almost didn't happen. We're actually very lucky in the first place that the game even exists, because that was a very good chance the game could have got cancelled. But after that situation, there was pretty much like radio silence for almost a year until earlier this year, around February time, where we finally started to get some information, news about the game, new gameplay, new characters being teased. And again, it was only really until November, at the start of the month pretty much, where they started to full send and start promoting the game, especially more so in China. Again, this is a Chinese game, Chinese developers, so it is expected. And with that, 8 million, again, in 10 days is really impressive, because that right now does put us as the 19th best revenue game in gacha games of the month. And this is only counting 10 days of November, because the game did release November 21st. So this isn't even a full month of revenue, which maybe even makes it even crazier. So right now it does look like the game is doing super successful from a revenue standpoint, and also from a community standpoint too. I know a lot of people are enjoying the game. I haven't really seen any, you know, hatred towards the game in terms of the systems that we do currently have right now, besides, of course, the fair criticism with the voice lines and the cutscenes not working, and hopefully they can start to work on that, fix that very quickly. But other than that, from the looks of it, from what I've been seeing, it seems like people are just fairly enjoying the game, and I get it. I'm part of you lads. I'm having a lot of fun playing Soul Resonance. So right now, 8.3 million is absolutely crazy, and there's also, again, a lot of things to keep in mind regarding this number. Is one, remember, 10 days of data. It's not entirely 1 month. Two, there's not really that many banners to summon on right now. Right now, you pretty much have the standard banner, which, yeah, I'm sure myself included, right, I did buy a few packs, which did let me summon on this banner more. But in general, whether you're free to play or pay to play, the idea is that eventually you are going to collect all the standard SSR units, especially with the fact that you do get over 300 summons for free. And then, of course, there's also the limited time Ichigo banner, who, for most of us, even dolphins, like myself, for example, that did spend some money, you know, I'm spending that on Toshiro and Aizen and Gin in the following months, or following weeks more so. I didn't actually really pull for Ichigo because I got him guaranteed through my reroll. But of course, there are people out there that did go the extra mile and tried to max dupe boundary B6 Ichigo, for example, which I know a lot of people did do. But basically, throughout those 10 days, it's pretty much been the same banner. So Toast was released in December 5th. Then we're getting Gin. Then we're getting Aizen. It's going to be a stacked month. And I'm very curious to see, because we are still in the honeymoon phase, what December's revenue is going to look like for Bleach Soul Resonance, because it might even get significantly higher. And that's just good news, especially as a Bleach fan, because seeing a game do well is a good sign. It means people are interested. It's showing the development team, the investors, that maybe it's worth investing more into Bleach, because the numbers that we are seeing here are actually fairly impressive. Again, once more, things to keep in mind. This is 8.3 million, and this does not include the web store. So both the C version and also global version, and I assume also China as well, does have access to a top-up center where you can buy packs on this website. And there's actually an exclusive pack over here, if you weren't already aware, where for £5 you can get a temple on a limited character banner. And that's actually going to be on a monthly rotation. So that's actually really good for, again, dolphins that do want to spend money, but not try and spend upwards like £500, for example. And I fit that card, right? I do spend money in this game. I plan to continuously spend money on this game, but not like crazy amounts. So any money spent on this particular page does not contribute to the 8.3 million data that we currently have right now, because that only considers mobile, Android, and also iOS. When it comes to the C and I believe Chinese versions, they are more prompted in-game to spend money on this particular website. So for example, on the global version, there's nothing here, but in the Chinese version, there's actually a pop-up on the bottom left telling you to, go to this website instead. The reason for that, for those that don't know, is that Google and Apple do take a cut when you spend money. So if you do spend £5, for example, Google and Apple are going to take 30% depending on the, device you are using. So the benefit of websites like this, and why many games do actually do that, is that they get the full revenue. If you spend £100, they're getting £100. Now with that, we can also have a close look at the actual data itself. Within that 8.3 million, of course, to no one's surprise, there should be no surprise here, China does make up most of the revenue, with 5.5 million strictly coming from China. So they're definitely carrying the revenue here, but still, regardless, it's only been 10 days. The other numbers are still looking relatively impressive. And at the same time, like we already spoke about, there was a more bigger push for Soul Resonance in China. I'm pretty sure this is their first actual Bleach game. I know for a fact Brave Souls isn't available in China, or if it was, it happened 5 years too late, around the 5th anniversary. And maybe there was Bleach Mobile 3D, but I guess the less spent talking about that, the better. But all the promotion that we had been seeing has pretty much been done in China, so it looks like it is paying off, because 5 million just from one country is China, but from one country is still crazy. When it comes to the global versions, right, we can see here from the Crunchyroll version, we have 500 on iOS, 400,000 on Android, so basically a million, right? We just round it up. A+ Japan, a bit lower, 200k, 200k. Don't think that means anything. Again, I know a lot of people are already, even though it's only been 1 week, are, scared, terrified that a certain version might shut down. Which I guess could be something to keep in mind in the future, right? Depending what the revenue is looking like months from now, let's say a year from now. But A+ Japan and also Crunchyroll, I'm pretty sure, are basically the same. They both exist at the exact same time. One can't exist without the other, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong on that. But if you're seeing here that A+ Japan versions are making the least amount of money compared to Crunchyroll, Nuverse, and also the Beijing versions, I don't think it means much. Crunchyroll is handling the global side, and that does include A+ Japan, just a different name for different regions. So with that, we can basically say that global did make over 1 million in just 10 days time, which again is pretty good. A month that could be upwards to 3 million. And in the Nuverse version, which I guess we can include in C, China, did make over 1 million, in this case 1.5, but also some pretty good numbers in terms of downloads as well, right? Which is really good to see. And this is also, keep in mind, not counting Japan. So this might come as a surprise. I'm not sure if it is. This game isn't available in Japan. I don't think they ever had intentions of releasing in Japan for some reason. I didn't ask why when I was talking to the developers, but I don't think this game ever had plans to release in Japan, if not at the very least at a later date, especially after seeing these numbers, right? If anything, this is going to tell Shueisha to quickly get Soul Resonance available in Japan, because the numbers they are bringing in is actually pretty high, maybe more than they potentially expected. So that's the reason why this is a good sign, because if anything, this tells Shueisha to invest more into Soul Resonance, maybe the investors for Nuverse to put more money into the game, to support the game more, to make it more successful. Like, for example, maybe finally getting around to doing a PC port. PC ports only make the game more popular, because not everyone does want to play it on their mobile, myself included. I've been strictly playing Soul Resonance through emulators. I know there's some people out there that just don't want to play this game at all until it's available on a PC, maybe even console. And revenue like this potentially shows there's a reason to do it. And for the most part, again, it looks like the game is doing exceedingly well, even in China on the App Store. Right now, over 100,000 ratings, which is, I would like to say, impressive, especially because there isn't a, event where they want you to rate the game and you get rewarded, etc. That's not actually a thing here. So I would like to say these are natural, organic ratings, and right now they're sitting at 4.8, which again, very impressive. So yeah, overall, some really impressive numbers for a game that, for the most part, didn't have like the best release, right? No PC port. We didn't have crazy promotion in the West because, again, the game only got announced a month ahead of time, pretty much. There was a lot of, hesitant because Crunchyroll is picking up the game. It's not available in Japan, but still, regardless, in just 10 days' time, before new characters even released, Toshiro Gin Aizen, 8.3 million, very impressive. A good start to this game. So over the next few months, I probably will be covering revenue data just to see how well the game is doing from a month-to-month standpoint. And we'll do it for the first few months until it does stagnate, right? Maybe they can prove me wrong. It's not like the game is going to make this much money every single month, but maybe they will. Again, we haven't seen a full month's worth of data. But like most games, to be fair, what the games you are seeing here, these are all old games. Games that have established themselves over the years. So even if next month, for example, Soul Resonance does make more money than ZZZ or Dokkan, of course that's impressive, but Dokkan's been around for 11 years. And they're still putting up crazy numbers. So I'm very curious to see what numbers Soul Resonance will be picking up or putting up once the honeymoon phase does die down. Because usually games like this, they make a lot of money in the first month, and then it starts to go down and just get to a good number, and maybe keep that number from month to month if the game just does things well. Or don't mess up more so. But if the game picks up and starts releasing exciting characters, which we again are getting Aizen and Gin right, maybe the numbers will get higher from month to month and stay higher. Either way, as a Bleach fan, it's nice to see a Bleach game doing well. Again, I want all Bleach games to do well. I've been supporting this game for a few years, so it's nice to see it's finally paying off with the release. And I'm excited to see where this game is going to go, and of course, the following months. So with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.